looks great. It looks great.
Thanks. Hello, everybody. Welcome to
Hello.
the Planet Destiny podcast number 100 and
100.
We'll edit that in post.
Happy New Year.
103.
Is it 103?
That's
I think so.
103.
I want to say. But yeah, Happy New Year, guys.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, gentlemen.
It's not
Welcome
a podcast unless I've got this cup right here. You know, this is. I should put this on raffle. You know, the official, the chalice.
Raffle off the door mug.
Good call.
I want to win someone's mug they've used all the time.
Yeah, man.
That's
It's
definitely
got my
what we
cooties.
want. The
What?
top tier prizes here on Planet Destiny.
Something
Take
of
this mug that Story's drunk from.
Yeah. Here's a question that I've always wanted to ask a bunch of American folks. What exactly are cooties?
Okay.
Good question.
Cooties are a made-up thing that mean nothing.
Okay,
But
wait a minute.
the joke was, or the concept was, it would be something that like only girls have or only boys have, because back when you're a kid and the opposite sex and gender is like a terrifying thing, but you're also very interested in, it would be, the idea would be like, don't touch girls, they have cooties. And it would just be like, everyone just plays like tag and like chase. You just play chase on the playground, and then someone's gonna be like, oh, you got touched, you have cooties now. And it was just like little kids flirting before they know what that means and not knowing how they feel.
We like to spread proper information here, so I'm going to start squashing your propaganda.
You're gonna correct
right here
me
live
on
on
the
stream.
I'm about to tag
Cooties
team with
is
you.
a very
Paul.
real issue.
Do you know if you teabag Cat Point, you get cooties?
No, if you teabag the cat point, it gives you immunity to cooties. You
Oh,
see,
right.
we're the old men of this podcast. Bones, he's too young. He doesn't understand.
I was
What a great-
vaccinated.
Cooties, you weird old people.
My parents loved me. I
Cooties
was
outbreak of
vaccinated way back
1991.
when. What you do is it's the circle, ... Now you got your cootie shot. And now we're protected. Bones was probably vaccinated too, but his parents just never told him, because you cannot just like assume that.
My parents were cooties anti-vaxxers.
Yeah, they didn't believe in cooties vaccination.
I'm very grateful for the explanation. We have the same terminology in the UK. We just call them germs. And that's what all the kids call them. Get off me. Don't give me your germs.
Barbarian.
Oh. See, now that sounds made up. Germs? I don't think that's a
Yeah.
real thing.
Injection, no
Cooties.
infection.
You just knew very clean, like health-centric kids when you were little. And they're like, who knows where your hands have been?
So what's
Yeah.
going on, gentlemen?
Should we talk
How was
about
your-
Destiny?
Yeah, let's talk a
maybe.
little-
Do we have to?
Maybe.
Maybe.
How was your
Link,
week
sorry.
in Destiny? Anyone do anything interesting?
Still haven't got an icebreaker.
No, same here.
Damn.
No.
4
Damn.
weeks.
Yeah.
4 weeks worth of characters. Still haven't
Keeps
got an
us- keeps
icebreaker.
it going, right?
Mm.
Gives you something to look forward to.
Well,
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, it doesn't. It
You're
doesn't.
losing hope as we speak.
Just like,
You know-
why am I playing this game? Oh god.
I was a guest this past week on the Rezo podcast for the Destiny Clan Resolute. Great bunch of fellas over there on that podcast. And they were telling me about their experience with the Dawning and how they felt about it. And one of them was like, oh yeah, so I got the icebreaker day 1, attempt 1 of the Dawning.
somehow, I think we're losing you, Fallout. You're cracking up just a little bit.
Am I?
No,
Or is the salt
it's the salt.
infesting your ears?
It's
Sorry,
the
yeah.
salt. It's
But
Salt
no,
division.
yeah, he got it first try, and he assumed that there was no orange, like you were just guaranteed to get an icebreaker. So he was like, "Wow, this is great! Like I'll help everybody get their icebreaker." And then his friends didn't get it. He's like, "Wow, you must have done something wrong. I don't know what it
course.
was. You should have gotten your icebreaker right there."
Yeah. You disturbed that pile of ashes out in the Cosmodrome. That's what's happened.
That's what it is.
Yeah. No, I still haven't got it, but I can't complain because I'm only playing 2 Nightfalls a week. I can't really do 3 at the moment.
Yeah.
My Titan's neglected, man. She's got dust all over her.
That's far more impressive than my 0 nightfalls per week track.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like you're not even trying.
I know, man. I know. But now back now, like the holiday was great. Spending time with my folks was great, and it was. I got a bit itchy. I wanted to play. I saw a lot of really cool PvP streams and stuff, so I was itching to play some PvP when I got back, and Yeah.
Oh man,
So
that reminds me of something. But first, I think we have to make notice here. We are missing somebody today.
we are.
Thank you,
Very
thank
sad.
you, Hungy in chat
Deej is
for
not here.
telling us it's not
Yeah.
Deej. Unfortunately,
Oh,
we have
For
to.
the
Sorry.
many
Have him in
episodes
another
in a
week.
row, he said no. He said he's not gonna.
He keeps
Yeah.
saying no.
He says
I
like,
know.
you guys can't tweet me 10 minutes before the show and expect me to ever do a podcast. There's a lot of like stuff to lay out before that happens. He says, please contact me before, maybe a week in advance. We always forget. So sorry, Deej is not
Maybe
here.
someday. Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
Also, Mega, he's not here. He's off doing family
Yes,
things,
Mega.
which is good.
Yeah.
Good for him. Important.
Confirmed.
Yeah, you know.
Nice guy. But yeah, I was kind of similar to you, Story. I was working over the winter break, and I kind of came back and thought, I really want to play some Destiny PvP because
Mhm.
nothing hits the spot like Destiny PvP. You know what? I want to be different. I'm gonna pick a random series of guns from my vault and head into PvP. Oh.
How did that work out for you,
Did it
buddy?
result in a
Yeah.
therapy session afterwards by any
It
chance?
resulted in a dead therapist.
Yeah.
He couldn't take all the salt that I was pouring out from the very depths of my soul. So let me tell you guys what I did. I went through and I was like, oh, you know what? I have a really decently rolled Hopscotch Pilgrim. I'm going to take that into PvP. It took 2 games.
Yeah.
2 games for me to say never again. And high impact pulse rifles are kind of in an interesting spot right now. They're like extremely high risk, high reward. You can 2 burst in a lot of them, stuff like the Liadmilla, the Parthian shot, which I actually made a review video on the Parthian shot a few
Yeah.
weeks ago. It's
Yeah.
one of my favorite weapons now.
Yeah.
Hopscotch Pilgrim,
No.
not one of my favorite guns. No,
I don't think
that's
I've got about 3 or 4 reasonable rolls on those, like saving it for the day that
Same
maybe
here.
they get a buff.
Yeah,
But I haven't actually shot one yet at all.
Been a long
it was
time.
it was
yeah.
the same
It's-
here. I had a few rolls of it, and I wanted to test them out, and like none of them felt good.
Yeah.
Just
Do you know why I don't
It's
use
just
it?
a strange
I don't like the
spot
look.
because, yeah, they're sort of standard now. A lot of those pulse rifles actually have the same structure as like the
Yeah.
first pulse rifles.
Exactly. It's like
And
holding
I
a
always,
pickup truck to your face.
Yeah, I hate pulses that cover a lot of your screen
Yeah.
on the
Mhm.
right side.
Yeah.
And it's like it
Bad
like
gun.
walls off your peripheral. So if you're sprinting, you're never gonna see if someone like blindsides you from there. So that's why I didn't use them back in the day. And then a few other designs came in and really helped with that. But there's still 1 or 2 that really cover a lot of your side view, and it
Those
drives me
guns need to
insane.
go on a
Yeah.
diet. They're too fat, man.
Yeah, man.
Way too fat.
Yeah.
I used to be a huge lover of the Messenger. You remember that gun?
Yeah.
Ooh, it's kind of
Yeah.
like the Hopscotch, one
That
of
was
those
my
really hard hitting
Trials.
pulse rifles.
Yep.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that gun was like a frozen rope. And you just hit. It was like, it was just perfect. It was so accurate. And then when you got that 2-tap, you just felt so good about everything.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was my
Two
first
tap.
ever House of Wolves Trials gun.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
I got it first time. I was really happy with that. I still have it on
Same
Xbox.
here, actually. I think
classic.
I still got mine.
The OG.
That is a classic gun.
Yeah, man.
You know what? That might actually be a decent place to move the conversation, since of course there's not really a whole lot going on in the world of Destiny
Oh, there's
right
not?
now. At least until this week. I think we're getting This Week at Bungie done on this coming Thursday.
Yeah.
But cross your fingers,
Just anything, Like, I don't even know what I'm
Go
doing
for
this
it.
for. I
Yeah.
just want it to mean
Cosmo being like, yeah, this is what I had for lunch today. And we're like, awesome.
I'll take it. I can make
I'll-
7
I'll
videos
listen
out of
to
that.
that.
I can do that.
appreciate them when they can write those out and actually give us some sort of text, and then it's they want to tell us stuff, or they wish it was more informative, but sometimes it's
Yeah.
like, oh man, you still got to put
Not like
those
they
out.
don't want to know
Yeah.
things.
Yeah. And as a writer
But-
who sometimes doesn't want to write something or has nothing to say, it's frustrating to make it sound like you gotta read it.
So we just kind of have to make up our own content. And as part of this whole taking different weapons into the Crucible thing, I took in some old favorites of mine, like my Year 1 Devil You Know, and my
Yes,
year.
dude.
Yeah, my old Hakon's hatchet. And so I wanted to kind of throw it to you guys. Do you guys have any like classic weapons? I know Bones probably doesn't because he's Mr. Vault Space Efficiency. But you guys have any classic weapons you feel the nostalgia for? You go back to test?
Absolutely. I've got too many of them. That's the thing. I've tried to hold on to as
Same
many
here.
of them as possible. I had to delete my Fatebringer at one point. That was quite a tender moment.
Oh, that's sad.
But while I'm looking in my vault right now, you guys can talk about your weapons because I'll probably have like a massive back catalogue of them here.
I
Wait,
have a
I-
Praetith's Revenge in my vault.
So that's
The
worth
Save its
keeping.
revenge.
The
That's a
best
good gun.
scout rifle of year one. That's how I used
Yeah,
to
dude.
call it.
Yeah,
Classic.
and I have a BTRD
The B-Tord.
heavy machine
Yeah,
gun
man.
only because that was statistically superior to literally every other.
Yes.
heavy
Okay.
machine
Can we
gun
talk a
that's been
bit for?
in the game.
Can we talk a bit about the BTRD? That was
Sure.
legit the best machine gun of year one.
Yep.
Mhm.
And like, I get so many people who argue, no, man, zombie apocalypse, you older hammer. No, BTRD was
Yeah.
statistically better
Yeah.
than every other machine gun
Just
in
abusive.
year one. Yeah.
What
Like,
was that thing that could two tap with crowd control? The green one. It was like the Xanax or
Xerxes
something.
C.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Like Xerxes with focus fire or something like that.
Yeah.
But it kicks like a mule.
Like a
You
mule.
get
But,
ag balls on.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I still have that
fun.
actually, sitting in my vault. A stupid Ag Balls Focus Fire Xerxes C, pulled out every now and again. But the BTRD, like you could get max stability rolls with that thing. It had the perfect mixture of fire rate and impact, and I think it had stock 45 rounds in the mag.
I have no idea.
Yeah, it was. It was like higher than
was
your usual
really
amount.
hot.
Yeah,
It's
man.
smaller now, and that's
Yeah.
why I don't really pull it out, even if I'm in Standard Crucible. You get like 30 shots or less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that thing could. Those machine guns used to hit like a truck
Yeah,
back
man,
in the
it did.
day.
Yeah, I'm looking
Scary.
at mine right now. Yeah, 42 in the magazine, which
Oof.
is ludicrous for a machine gun.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So yeah, that one.
I'm
I
glad
have
that you're
that-
a lover of the Devil You Know, by the way, Link.
Yeah.
Or you had, that was my favorite hand cannon way back when. I used to roll into matchmaking with Devil You Know and Pocket Infinity together. I mean, do you even really need the Devil You Know though? If you had the Pocket
No.
Infinity, you just,
No.
you just whatever. You just need a.
Do you need a subclass? Do you need grenades?
No,
need
just
anything?
walk in, hold charge and win.
Yeah, man.
That was Pocket Infinity in year one.
Spin in a
Oh,
circle.
So much fun.
I never
But yeah,
got
Link-
to test that out in its original state in Pocket Infinity.
No?
I got it after they nerfed it.
It's still good though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still
I
good.
would seriously. I have a video coming out on my channel tomorrow. I made a video like a week ago of I was just bored with the current meta, like every game going in with like Ias Luna, Palindrome, Matador.
Yeah.
So I went into matchmaking with a year one loadout. What did I do? I did Sunsinger with the Thorn, and I made another video. I went in with Blade Dancer, Blink, Arc Bolt, Pocket Infinity, and Shadow Price. And holy God, do I miss Pocket Infinity so
Yeah, man.
much.
Yeah.
That
It's
should
still
come
really
back.
good though.
Yeah, that should come
Still
back.
really good.
It was affected by the blanket stability buff for fusions, right?
I can't remember. It was so
Yeah.
long ago. They groin kicked that gun pretty hard though, and for the longest time it wasn't allowed in competitive play. So I old yellered it. I took it out back and I was like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, that gun kind of in its initial form needed a nerf. Like, I'll
Oh, yeah.
sign off on the nerf for the Pocket Infinity. There's still
Sure.
so many people who came in during year 2 and year 3 who never got to experience what it was like to use that or have it used on you. Have
Yeah.
somebody walk into a room full of people, hold
Yeah.
charge, and 3 seconds later,
Everyone's
Seventh column.
dead. Everybody's dead. I
Yes,
only saw
I-
footage. I never got to experience it, man. Shed a
it was
tear.
nuts.
Yeah.
It was a ludicrous gun back in the day.
Yeah. And the
So
Mythoclast, like, I mean, I got that
Oh,
several
Lord.
months after that was originally nerfed, but that always has a little bit of a fond section of my.
Was that
Heart
the
muscle.
first? Was that the first overpowered gun in Destiny? Like truly overpowered.
Was
it
Pocket
the Vex
Infinity
Mythoclast?
first though? Before because that was more accessible
Was
than
it?
the Mythoclast, I think.
I
'cause
can't
Pocket
remember.
Infinity.
yeah.
Pocket Infinity got nerfed first. It was
Yeah.
the
Are
very
you sure?
first gun.
Are you
I'm pretty
really
sure it was
sure?
the first gun, the first exotic gun at least. I'm
Because
pretty
it was
sure.
in the
to,
game
get-
before, because we had hard mode of Vault of Glass.
It was in the game, sure,
Yes.
before the Vex
Yeah.
Mythoclast, but I remember that people were uploading footage of taking the Vex Mythoclast into PvP, the original Vex Mythoclast, and it was just no contest.
Yeah.
like
It
a
had this huge
3 or
clip,
4 shot.
and it was just perfectly accurate. The bullets or the bolts or whatever, it had like no travel time. It was like, dead. Dead.
Yeah.
I think
dead.
the Vex Mythoclast could have been such a bigger problem, but because it was so rare that it was
Yes.
actually okay. I mean, it
Yeah.
needed a nerf and it got
It-
fixed.
yeah. Yeah.
obviously, because that's probably not how they intended that to work at all. But
Yeah.
it wasn't like, oh my God, everything is Vex Mythoclast. It's
True.
everything. It was just
Yeah.
like the 3 people that got lucky on their first ever Vault of Glass hard mode
Oh my
that
gosh.
got it. But that could have gone so
Yeah.
poorly had that just been in
So
everyone's vault.
Hmm.
I remember watching
remember-
clips on YouTube of a guy. Every time he popped in a lobby, he just emptied the lobby, and he was just on his own. You know.
Yeah. They're like, dude, screw this.
It was strong. It was super strong.
Gosh.
It definitely needed that initial nerf. I'm not sure it needed the 17 nerfs it got after that.
Yeah.
It seemed like every patch contained a nerf for fusions and a nerf for the Mythoclast in particular. And it makes me sad now because it kicks like a mule.
I only had one gripe with it in PvP, and that was that when you were being hit by it, like as with a lot of weapons, you don't get much feedback, you know, from like the sounds. Like I remember in Battlefield 3 when I was maining that all the time. When you got hit, and it was a really large sound effect, and your screen had slightly like flash red. So you knew you were being hit, so you were like, oh, immediately dodge and evade. But with the Mythoclast, I was likening it to a cat sipping a saucer of milk. And like you didn't know you were being shot at by it, so like you got melted like super quickly.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that was. But back to the Devil, you know, that I think that was one of my first ever legendaries that I got that I really enjoyed using. I think in PvP, but I didn't keep it. It wasn't a great role. It was just the only one that I got, and yeah, man. So
Yeah, I brought it into PvP this past week just to mess around with it. It's just like I haven't used it in forever. I was like, yeah, let's take this out, have some fun.
yeah, man.
And it actually felt pretty good when you get that 3-tap. You're just like, oh yeah, that's awesome. But of
Yeah.
course, it can't compare on paper to the guns that everyone is using right now, like the
Yeah.
IS Luna. Everybody's got a palindrome. Everybody's got
Mhm.
an IS Luna.
Yeah,
So, but it was fun while it lasted.
It's a sticky gun though, because I mean, if you're using it in like Supremacy and everyone's right in your face, I had one a year 2 one, but I used it for a little bit with Luck in the Chamber, and it's like magnets to heads.
Magnets.
I got a God roll on one recently. Outlaw, reactive reload, sure shot, rifle barrel.
I'll take it.
Yeah, man.
You actually got a rifle barrel hand cannon? I
I
thought that
know.
didn't happen to you.
No,
Oh,
it doesn't
I
happen. It broke a string of the casket mag curse. If you've seen any of my Twitter recently, every hand cannon that I get has got casket mag on it, and it broke that. But then at the same day, I had a really well rolled comedian and a that devil, you know, from Vanguard, and that's like 2 decent weapons in one day. You've broken the universe story. That's it now. Everything since then, you know, I get like maybe 1 or 2 decent drops every 3 months. So I'll have another 3 months of casket mag now. So, which
The
sucks.
dam is gonna break, and Story's gonna roll into matchmaking and get showered by Matadors and Lunas.
Every game.
No, I had what did I have? 1 Matador from SRL, 200 races of SRL, 1 Luna, which I actually use. It's a brace frame Luna. It's actually quite good. It's decent enough.
Really?
For close quarters, yeah. But like braced frame, like a friend of mine said that it's probably a very underrated perk for the I don't know whether it's hand cannons in general, but definitely on the Luna archetype. Because if you go out and you test the recoil pattern, it has next to no recoil at all. So you can really spam, and because of the extra stability, it doesn't ghost anywhere near as much as a rifle barrel one. The only problem is your damage drop off will begin. I can't remember the exact like damage drop off in meters, but it begins a lot. It's a lot shorter than.
Probably 20 something.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's still not bad. Like I pretty much used it in trials for the whole weekend on a couple flawless cards, and it is good. I mean, I didn't really expect much out of it because you think you really do need that range, but stability might just be underrated a little bit on those. But
I was gonna say because like the base IS Luna already has really high base stability. It's like I want to say 56 or somewhere
It's up
around
there.
there.
yeah,
Quite a
with
bit more than the palindrome.
brace,
Yeah. So with
brace
braced frame, that's
you
like-
get
Huge.
92 stability.
Oh God,
Yeah.
that's gonna be.
Wow.
But I got it with Underdog and Life Support on it as well. So those are two quite useful perks, I think. So, you know, if you get your health down, you've got that extra bit of range there when you really, really need it. And then kills with the gun can, you know, sometimes trigger your health regen. So it was, I thought when I got it was my girlfriend that got it. She was playing SRL on my account at my mum and dad's, and she was like, I got a Luna. And I was like, that's both Lunas on Xbox and on PlayStation, the one each. You know, like, and they were identical apart from one's brace frame, one was small ball. So
I mean, it sounds like you found the secret to getting your IS Lunas.
oh
Let her
yeah,
play on all
Let
your
the girlfriend
accounts.
Yeah,
play.
man.
Yeah, there you
There you
go.
go.
she's coming
That's
over later on today, so I'll be like, sit down, play Crucible. Doesn't matter how well
Yeah,
you do.
yeah.
Get me the Luna rangefinder, rifle barrel, sure shot, and hidden hand, please. Thank you.
She comes in and she's holding out her hands like, I'm so glad to see you. And you're like, me too. And you just put a controller in her hand. You turn
Get to
around,
work.
push her towards the
Get to
TV.
work.
Yeah,
There
man.
you go.
But yeah, if anyone's got brace frame Luna, go out there and try it. Let me know what you think about it, man. I'd be really anxious to see what folks think of that, man, because it was good. It was surprisingly good. Not like my explosive rounds casket mag one that I'll sometimes whip out for a nightfall to be completely sadistic.
Story's going to forge the new meta.
Yeah, man.
Like the next PvP Legends Varcog tourney, everyone's going to be rolling in with braced frame. You're like,
The new
yeah,
braced frame
this is it. This is
meta.
the new meta right here, the braced frame.
Actually, well, I'm thinking I can just nuke people with 1,000 casket mag hand cannons in one big juicy Nova bomb. There's
There you
all
go.
my RNG for you.
Juicy Nova Bomb.
But yeah, there you go, man. But yeah, the search goes on for my favorite Luna rangefinder, hidden hand, rifle barrel, short shot. Thank you. Please.
Yes, please and thank you.
Yeah, I
I
want
still have not gotten a rangefinder rifle bearer Luna.
Same here.
I would like to have one.
I saw quite a few drop in SRL, but none with rangefinder. Literally none. So I was never jealous of someone else's Luna at any point. Yeah.
Link, why does it say the Black Link no under your name on Skype?
I'm not quite sure. I noticed that when I was.
Are you an
hosting
imposter?
The podcast.
Yeah, we have. Yeah, who are you?
No, I'm I'm the Black Link. Yes.
Because I just was looking. It's like, yeah, Bones, Story, the Black Link. No,
No.
No.
pull
I
off
think
the
it's
mask.
something to do with just the name that's set up in Skype. Oh, you know that might be it, because I think Skype asks for like your broadcast name, and it's like once a first name and a last name, and that's it. I put no as the last name, so
Okay.
it thinks no is
Wow.
my last name. So there you go. That's
There you go.
my last name is no.
What a badass last name. No.
Yeah.
GBL no.
And then you're filling out forms and work, and it's like, don't write on this page, and you write okay.
Okay.
Upload
'Cause I'm a rebel,
screenshot
that's
of
what I
that to
do.
Mad Lads.
Mad lad.
But did you guys get down on any of the combined arms playlists this week?
God no.
No.
I did a game to get that radiant
That'd be-
treasure and then stopped.
Yeah.
No.
Interesting. I'm a fan of combined arms. I always liked the game mode, because larger maps are kind of weird in Destiny, but I like being able to hop into an interceptor for 17 minutes and not do anything else. Because for some reason, people who play on the combined arm playlist completely ignore the interceptor. So
Man.
in like a ton of the games I've played, I just hop into it, sit by C, and kill anything that comes near it. It's great.
Do you remember very early Destiny? God, I'm having such weird thoughts of how different very early Destiny PvP is to current Destiny PvP. You have like very high, fast-paced game modes right now. Mostly threes are probably the most popular playlist, but early Destiny, there was no combined arms playlist. You would go into Clash with a bunch of your friends, and there were these
Yep.
huge maps, and there were vehicles everywhere, and you wanted to fucking kill yourself.
Hopping on
It
the
was-
Sparrow and driving back to A and then getting off and then running
Yeah.
over.
Oh my god. What is the name of that huge map on Mars? I haven't played it
Bastion.
in forever.
Yeah,
Bastion.
Bastion.
Thank you.
My first
Oh my gosh.
ever
PTSD.
Yeah, ever PvP experience. My first time spawning into PvP. It was on Bastion on Xbox. I was alive for a second before I got run over by a sparrow, and I thought, "What? They got sparrows in here? Okay."
Welcome to Destiny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And then it's
But,
just bottom left. Such and such player left the game. Such and such player left the game, and it was like, "Oh, I'm the only one left." You know.
Oh yeah, dude. Especially back in year one when you would get like First Light and Bastion in a row in just like the normal control playlist.
Yeah.
And yeah, you'd have people just quitting, which would make the match
Yeah.
last even longer if you stayed in there.
Yep.
But
I would do anything in Destiny if it meant people just stayed in the game. I have no problems if people just stay in the game. It can be fun. Literally everything is ruined by people just leaving the game these
Yeah.
days.
Literally everything.
I mean, that's
No,
literally
it's
like
true. It's really frustrating when you go into a game, especially really early in the game,
yeah.
like under a
Yeah.
minute in. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, the score is 300 to 100, buddy.
Bungie, stop putting me in games that are already underway. Well, it's like because some asshole right before you was just like, I don't like it.
I didn't get first kill. I'm out.
Yeah, I'm done. Done.
What if they just really need to pee?
Too bad.
It could be
Hold it in, baby.
incontinence. The year of incontinence. It's like, I want to play this game.
Why did
I
they
want to play,
start
but I
another
can't.
game?
Yeah, once you press A or X to lock yourself into matchmaking, you've made a commitment, all right?
Yeah.
You've signed your name on the dotted line. Your P comes later, okay?
I just think it's
2017
crazy, like-
cannot be the year of quitters. You stay in there.
Yeah.
Stay in the
Damn
match.
right.
Soil
I'm
yourself.
derailing the conversation with this, but like every game or most games can have some sort of rule. It's just like, all right, you left one game. Well, that's not the end of the world. You did have to pee, or like your mom just pulled the plug on your PS4 because you stayed up too late. That happens, but maybe that happens like
does.
once a month. If you're a person that just is like, I don't like it, nah, I'm losing, and you quit, like every other game has something of just like, nah, you've left too many games. You can't start playing it for another
That
20
is
minutes
important.
or a week. Or in Overwatch, it's like, you just abandoned your team. We're going to give you a loss, and your ELO is going down.
Same
All
with
of
Call
that
Duty.
just-
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like all of that is so simple and needs to happen, and then you just don't. I mean, not that it's the perfect solution, but it would reduce the amount of games that you're dropped into. It would. You'd still end up in some because yeah, people will drop, but like you have a higher chance of people playing out full games.
Mhm.
And I don't know why it's there.
And I mean, it's
Well,
not
that's
even,
not-
especially with Destiny, it's not even worth quitting because you get rewards whether you win or you lose.
Exactly.
Like,
Like, you're
Crucible
about to get,
pays
like-
bank.
10 marks
Well,
and a chance at
kinda.
Ice Luna. I'll sit around.
Kinda. The rewards at the moment, I don't know. I just feel like they're not landing at all. Like,
Really?
Yeah, man.
I see a legendary literally at the end of every Crucible game. Not
Just-
maybe not always for me, but legendaries literally drop for
yeah.
everybody. I've
Also,
played
if
with.
you're still playing Crucible at this point, it might be because you want that. I mean, I'm assuming that like a good amount of people are like, I'm gonna grind out for these guns, and especially considering Crucible has access to two of the best PvP weapons in the
Yeah.
game. I would assume that like people still playing Destiny at this day in this day and age.
I
If
could
you're
just
still
get
on
scout
this
rifles. It's like if there's a legendary that drops for me, it's gonna be a scout rifle. I could probably compress an elephant to a thin slice of paper with the amount of scout rifles that I've had in the last few months. I'm like the scout. I like the endorsement sponsorship for scout rifles. Me, please, everything under the sun, scout rifle. You know, open my fly to go to the toilet. Scout rifle flops out. 10 of them, you know. Go to the fridge. I want to make a sandwich. Oh my God, there's 10 scout rifles in my fridge.
It's everywhere.
Well, well, Link, if every time you finish a game there's a legendary drop, you need to come play with me immediately.
Jump on in, man. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
not going to
dude.
promise you're going to get the most fun lobbies, but I always see legendaries dropping for people. It's
but
not
you-
always me, but
You've been ducking my invites though lately.
not ducking. I recently went through and saw you sent me a bunch of messages. I have notifications turned off on PS4. So
Well,
like
look
I
at
don't see
that.
any invites or any messages, and I do that because
How
I got tired of getting those on
convenient.
streams.
Yeah.
You don't have the app where you get them on your phone at least?
Oh, the PSN app? No, I uninstalled that because I got tired of my phone vibrating from messages. It happens.
Wow,
I'm
the
I'm
dodge.
sorry,
So
man.
we're gonna have to
The
DM
Dodge
you on
game is
Twitter then
strong.
for the.
I ain't got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. But getting back to the topic, the other thing I like about combined arms is I can kind of go into it and I don't really have to worry about the current meta so much. Like, you're not shotgun rushing with optimal efficiency in combined arms. You can snipe in combined arms. You can use scouts in combined arms. You can use auto rifles for a bit in combined arms. That's the other thing I like about it. When I get tired of playing Supremacy, my other favorite game mode, and shotgun juggernaut rushing, because that's what I do, I head into combined arms, and it's like I can pull out my wounded and do well. I like that.
It
works for me.
Larger maps. It's like we experienced that when we had First Light as a trials map.
Everyone hated it.
I loved it. I had a great time with that, man. Just because you couldn't shotgun rush on it, and I don't have anything really against shotguns other than the blanking and stuff like that. That's the only problem I have with them. But on First Light, shotgun rushers, I mean, there were teams that we played that were very effective. They closed the gaps, they got on the Sparrows, they closed the gaps quickly, they had huge amounts of confidence, and that's what confidence and good positioning to close those gaps, that's what you need. But there was just too many good counters for it, and that's not camping with snipers. You could aggressively push with the Queensbreaker. The sidearms were decent, scout rifles with crowd control and outlaw and all that kind of things were decent. There was just a whole bunch of weapons that aren't classified as meta weapons that came straight back into the pool again. So that's what big maps does, because the majority of Destiny PvP maps are very, very close quarters. Even if they've got a large space, there's lots of nooks and crannies and terrain and stuff like that, which will give a shotgun rusher a lot of cover.
Do you guys know the cliff you could have jumped on in First Light over the cave spawn, and you had to get up on one rock and then leap all the way over to the cliff side, and you could sit up on this one little ledge and just pick people off for days and they would hate you. I feel like I missed that about video games and shooters, where you just be like, oh, that person's up there in the spot. It's happened a few times on other maps and people get real salty, but I just think it's kind of funny, when Frontier had that little space above the door.
Oh yeah.
And people would pick you off, and you'd just be like, "That son of a bitch, he's up there." But then you'd shoot him, and their orb is stuck up there, and you're just laughing while their teammates are like, "Oh, God. You idiot! Why'd you have to get shot up there?"
Pump Train showed me an awesome spot on Drifter last night. I think he's in the chat. Pump Train. There's a horrible spot on Drifter. He killed himself a couple of times trying to fly over to it, but it's where...
Sounds like Pump Train.
There's the balcony. Is it the B where the heavy spawns? There's a balcony.
Yeah, okay, so picture Drifter. There's the indoor heavy up top, the top of the map inside, and then on the opposite side of the map, there's heavy ammo kind of in an outside area at the bottom of two ramps, what I'm talking about? And then if you jump and float way... pretend you're going to jump off the map past heavy, but you keep going. There's a dome all the way at the back of the map, and you can land out there on some random beam and run around. I don't know why you would want to go out there, but it's good for a lull every now and then to catch somebody off guard. They're like, did that guy kill me from out there? What the fuck is he doing out there?
Yeah, but it was funny because he was over there and he was like, the thing I love about this spot is that if you hit someone with just one shot, they have no idea where it's coming from, and it's really funny just watching them go, oh my God, where am I being hit from, They can see you on the radar, but you're nowhere near them, that kind of thing, so, yeah. But we had the same thing, Battlefield 3, if there's anyone who played Battlefield 3, no shot canals, TDM, that crane. Oh my God, that crane. And on PC, all you would see in the chat was you'd see in the kill feed, sniper headshot, and then you'd see in the chat, get off the crane in caps. But I got a really good technique where if you would get underneath the crane and turn around backwards and throw a grenade upwards, it would go and land on the crane, and you'd just get quad feeds from all the campy snipers up there and stuff. It was awesome.
You were making it way too hard on yourself. All you had to do was swap to recon class, pull out the MAV, which is the flying drone, fly it up there behind them, and then you could sit on the crane and push them all off in a row. So they'd be scoped in, and then suddenly
I didn't know you could push them up, because I know that the MAV was something that really used to annoy me. big time, like getting killed with that. But they nerfed it, but you could still push people. Yeah, I didn't realize that.
Yeah. Push 'em
But it
off
was
the
such a
cliff.
small space, and one time there was so many of them up there spawning on the beacon that they just kept falling off like lemmings. You know.
Did anybody play Halo 2?
Oh,
Yes.
I missed all the Halo PvP stuff.
Link played Halo 2? So there was like a trick where you could switch back and forth between a rocket launcher and a sword. And like if you did it quick enough and like hit the swing, yeah, I'm miming it out here. You could basically trick the game into thinking that you've locked onto somebody with a sword, and it activates the lunge, and you
Oh, no.
Superman across like half the map. So we would do these things where we'd go into custom games and we would go so far out of the map, like miles and miles and miles, and then we would invite somebody into the game, and they'd be like, "Where are you guys?" And we're like, "All right, time to kill this guy."
Sniper.
Oh,
Ten
good
out of 10.
times.
I miss super jumps.
Oh,
Super
super
bounces.
jumps,
Like
yes.
on Zanzibar, where you like
Absolutely.
tuck into the corner, turn,
Yep.
jump, land on the side of the railing, and then bounce on top of the
Fly
windmill
away.
when you're up there. Oh my gosh!
So much
I
fun.
mean, I'm glad that doesn't happen, but that was some fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
good
True.
times.
true.
I mean, oh gosh, if we're on the topic of weird first-person shooter glitches, this is bringing back memories. There was a game that came out on the original Nintendo Wii called The Conduit, and oh my God, this game! It was a motion control game, but in The Conduit, in the multiplayer, there was a glitch where if you swapped weapons that you had equipped fast enough, you could trick the game into dropping one of the guns, picking it back up, and merging its stats with the gun you had equipped.
Holy Lord, what the hell?
It was the most broken.
Wait,
So
wait,
what
wait.
people-
Explain that again. Explain it
You
again.
would swap weapons. So if you had a primary and your secondary, you would
Okay.
swap weapons, and while you were swapping them, you would like drop your gun to pick up another gun. The game would get confused and mix the stats of the gun you were picking up with the one you had equipped. So you could like swap and mix a submachine gun and a rocket launcher.
I'm trying to think of if that applied to Destiny PvP.
Oh
what
my
would, What would the
gosh.
dirtiest weapon fusion be?
Yallerthorn.
Yeah.
Yallerthorn?
Oh no.
Well,
Oh no.
something with a high rate of fire, with endless magazines, with Wolfpack rounds. So,
I want an IS Luna with old LDR armor-piercing rounds.
Yes. Oh my god.
Oh,
Just
no.
sniping people through walls.
Through walls.
Palindrome with sniper shots.
The old outside of sea wall bang. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Jump up on the water tower, shoot C, get a double. All right, game begins.
Easy money.
GG's.
Yeah,
Maybe
that
an
sounds like a
actual-
downright broken mechanic that would ruin a game. It sounds
It
like
did.
That would absolutely break it. Like maybe a shadow price that shoots thorn rounds.
Oh my god. With like the old damage over time. The year
Super
one
toxic.
damage over time.
that.
Are we going to
That'd be the
open
best
up to more questions then this week, Ben, as we're waiting on Bungie to deliver some information from the clouds?
You want to do a little
Yeah.
early question stuff?
Well,
and just
I
talk
was
questions?
just thinking because we didn't have much of an outline for today. I mean, we can
Yeah,
save it
no.
to a little bit later on if you like. But when things are a little on the dry side, it's good to get folks in, and
Thought we could talk a little bit about trials before we.
yeah, sure,
we could-
sure.
Oh, you want to, Fallout? You want to talk about trials?
I do actually.
I know you.
I
hate
had a
it.
good time. I do. I do not like trials. Confirmed. Okay, so Bones is laughing about that because he asked me to help him take a friend of his to the lighthouse. Who we met him at Destiny Con, right?
Correct.
Okay, really nice guy. He had never been in year 3, pretty sure, and
Yep.
we took him to the lighthouse. And I really do like Burning Shrine. I really like that
Yeah,
map.
me too.
Yeah.
But lately Trials has just been frustrating for me. Even though I'm getting people to the lighthouse, it's still because I like fast-paced games. I like to sweat. I like skirmish. I like the constant motion. And sometimes when everything grinds down to a standstill in Trials, and you get like a whole team of hard scopers out on the beach or whatever with the sun behind them, I'm just like, oh
Yep.
my god. So we got this guy to the lighthouse, and I was super happy to do it with Bones. It was a lot of fun. And I was like, okay, dude, I'm gonna eat dinner. I'll talk to you later. And then I put down the controller and I leave the party chat. And for some reason, he could still hear me on his machine. And like I walked away, and I was like, oh, I fucking hate Trials, dude.
So, I'm all my friends are like are like scared now that I'm telling them this, but for some reason, whatever my PS4 settings are with audio, where it goes output, input, fire team, party chat. If someone's in my fire team but they're not in the party chat, I can hear their fire team audio. So if they're still talking, then I can hear them. And it just happens like Fallout was just like, oh yeah, I'm not in the party yet, so I'm like talking to my friend next to me, and then they join the party and they think that's the first time anyone's hearing them, and I can hear them.
Yeah.
So people will leave the party and I can like hear exactly what they say before they've turned off their PS4 or something like that. And nothing terrible. I've heard some salty comments, but it's always funny, or it's a little awkward when I hear them talking and I'm just like, they don't know I can hear them.
Yeah.
But Trials is definitely frustrating. That being said, it was a nice little battle to the lighthouse today. Shout out to Shallow Crow who got there. And I don't know. Burning Shrine is good. I like Burning Shrine. I think it's the ultimate sort of gauntlet map. It's sort of simple enough while not being entirely boring and symmetrical. There's at least differences in outside inside. It can be a little standoffish. Yeah. This is one of the first weeks where I do sort of feel like Scories was frustrating. Normally, I don't care if a team camps really hard. Like Fallout, you don't like when the momentum stops, and that's not great. But I've always really loved when I can successfully like play mind games and just make them sit out there. Part of the camping strategy is waiting for your enemies to get antsy and peek, and if you cannot do that, they just don't know what to do. So like that can work on certain maps. On Shrine, especially with Scories, like we lost a Mercy because we just like lost track of supers, and I'm like, really? Like lost that round because there's like another tether at the end of this. Like, come on. Weird. So that was the only time I was really frustrated by that. So
I think Scories needs to be rebalanced, and if so, how could it be rebalanced?
I think it'd be a fun PvE thing that you use in the Nightfall and that you use in the raids, where you're scared and you're huddling in a corner and your friend is dead and you're like, oh, give me Scories, and you get your bubble and you go save your friend, pop bubble.
Give me some Scories, man.
I mean, like that's fine, because that doesn't like, I don't know, the idea of, because Fallout's point is that it changes the momentum and it slows the game, and high level Destiny plays better when it can be a little quicker.
Yeah. That's how it's
elimination is
like torn.
Yeah.
Because elimination is already geared towards slow, careful strategy, positioning, mind games, and I like that. That's why I like Trials as a game mode. It's because it's about outthinking the other team and a little bit of gun skill. But when the outthinking becomes like, don't do anything. I think
it's like I used to play Age of Empires. Did anybody play that game, Age of Empires or Age of Empires 2? It's like a strategy game. It's like Red Alert.
I've seen it.
You'll fight with old armies and whatever. And so it was so much fun to clash your armies together and just beat the shit out of your friend and whatever. You have these huge, huge fights on the middle of the map. But then there was a way to win. You have your villagers build a wonder. And it's this thing that you build deep in the corner of your base. And it costs a lot of resources. But if you build the wonder, then it puts a thing on the screen. It's like, oh, if you don't beat this in whatever it is, 10 minutes, then the game is over. And every time I would play online with other people, we would have rooms where we were like, 3v3, no wonders or something like that. Because it's lame. Like, I don't know. It's
no heavy.
I struggle with both halves of my brain, because one part of me is like, it's part of the game and it changes it up, and I shouldn't complain about something just because I don't like it. Because I don't like when a lot of other people do that. It's like, oh, I don't like this. It should be removed totally, which is kind of maybe a little bit scrubby. But then there's the other half of me that's like, but it's so boring, though. I don't want them to just sit there and camp with Scory. I want to have fast, fun action. It's just so lame when they're like getting a suntan out on the beach on on Burning Shrine. And I'm like,
sipping
come
a
on,
pina
man.
colada.
Yeah, drinking a banana daiquiri.
Like if
so
your play
irritating.
is patient and you are a player who can do that, and your goal is to take advantage of the general shooter's urge to kill and urge to run and peek out through doors, then fine, you can be rewarded for patience. But your reward should be a kill because you killed me because I got jumpy and antsy and I really wanted to go shoot you when I walked into a doorway. That's your reward, not like also a super while you sit there.
Just sitting back waiting and building supers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's got to be a tweak that doesn't totally destroy a mechanic, but yeah,
it's difficult, isn't it? Because the underlying religion is that everything needs to be identical in both PvP and PvE, which that's been thrown into controversy quite a lot. And there's so many things that aren't the same, you know, that they do have slightly different feels, or they're different rules, or, you know, science behind it all. And I think that maybe the easiest or the most effortless suggestion would be that supers charge slower in PvP than they do in PvE. But I don't know, that is literally pushing that controversy. I don't think Bungie are going to be too happy with that, you know. So
it has to be sort of a last resort to say, we're just going to turn this off. I think that has to be a last resort. It's like,
or maybe there has to be two people with Scories, and then they have to have
like
their
the
supers.
link to get linked.
Yeah, like
something.
to create some kind of link with another Guardian. So
you
have to have two people with it that sacrifice their artifact slot for that, and they have to be like much closer. Maybe I don't know whether that would do anything.
I would love it.
You know,
it'd be great because you could just like counter that with like a placed grenade.
Yeah.
Where you're always going to hit both of them because they're just trying to hold hands. Like, you should actually have to hold hands. You have to be doing that friend emote where you do the high fives and spin around.
Yeah,
And it has to be
There we
perfectly
go.
timed.
You have to synchronize dance moves. That's how you activate Scories now in PvP. I mean,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, you bring up a point that Bungie's talked about before. They like to keep parity between PvE and PvP. How do you guys feel about that? I know certainly, Bones, you've had interviews discussing that very thing. How do you guys feel about them trying to keep all abilities completely equal and doing the same thing across PvE and PvP?
Unity is a good idea. I think in its essence, it's a very innocent and also a strong idea. Whether it works in every possible conceivable way is quite questionable. You know, it's a hard thing to have to balance. I mean, of all the games that I've played in the last decade, Destiny's probably one of the most hardest games to balance, just because of the sheer variety of stuff and different classes and abilities and all that kind of stuff. It doesn't mean that it's impossible to balance it. And certainly if we had more frequent patches, I think they'd be able to get closer to a much better formula. But in terms of trying to get that unity between the both, I don't know if that will ever be possible, you know. So, because some things are just never going to work well in competitive multiplayer, you know, like there's golden rules, the FPS rules that have to be respected, you know.
There's those contracts, yeah.
It's I think philosophically, as a design philosophy, it's a good goal. And I think if they continue to say our goal is for this to happen, then I think we sort of get the best out of that. Because like Story just said, that there's a lot of things that are different currently. There's a lot of loadout choices we all make. I definitely have sort of, not for all three of my classes, but my Warlock, it gets a little more PvE time. I have like my PvE build. I got my raid gear that I throw on. And they already encourage that, right? Yeah. You get raid gear that helps you in the raid because you're not going to use your Iron Banner gear, which helps you in the Crucible. And that's perk specific. So, you know, there's proof that it has to be different, and it will in some cases always. Yeah, I mean, that being said, if the philosophy is to have it cross over often, I think that's good for this game. I think Destiny works well if that's the case. I think I worry that when you start splitting it more, you get on this slippery slope of getting too many variables, where you just start going like, everything's in two different hands, and now I got to do this.
Yeah,
it's getting farther away, and I don't know what to do. Or we got to have like a patch for PvE now and a patch for PvP.
That's
I started
dangerous.
worrying about that when
that's dangerous.
Yeah, when Overwatch did that. They changed the balances between PS or console and PC, and they didn't do it right away, which is great. I mean, if they had done the first patch and it was different, we would have had this splitting path. But eventually it became, okay, Torbjorn is a little out of control because the console can't react to that. And it's like, all right, there you go. There's your one time you can do this. It's very important that this happen, but it's not going to create this rift where they all go in totally opposite directions. And if that would happen, if it happened more, I think it'd be frustrating. I think we'd have too much stuff in our vaults.
Yeah.
It might be. Yeah, it would.
I think-
It's really hard to do
Yeah.
to get perfect balance between PvP and PvE. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I wouldn't expect Bungie to do that. I'm
Or to try.
as long as my Crucible is relatively balanced, I'm okay. Do whatever you want for the.
So weapon balancing is always something that needs to be like an on the fly tuned, kind of thing, because I think it's impossible for any multiplayer testing team to discover all of the most either overpowered combinations or things that might be broken or really weak. And especially with the variety in a game like Destiny, it's going to be very hard to explore all of those avenues in a controlled situation. It has to be released out into the wild so it can propagate and everyone, millions of people can get their hands on it in order to understand, all these different explored avenues. So weapon balancing for me is always something that's going to be done on the fly. But I think one of the biggest problems that we have with that is that we have, is it 2 balancing patches per year or is it 3? Which is a little on the
An average of 2, I
fluctuates.
think.
Yeah, it's quite that. I mean, there's a lot of complaint about weapon subclass balance and all that kind of thing. I think they'd be able to achieve a better harmony with that with more frequent patches, not crazy amounts, because patches cost a shit ton of money to release on consoles.
They have to pay
and
for
stuff.
those.
Yeah,
No, it's
But
free. You just
they're
fix
not
it. They're just
free.
refusing to.
However,
You just do it and they just don't listen.
yeah.
No, they're
However,
not listening to us.
that's their industry that they've chosen to thrive in, and I think for a game's health, they have to do more. They have
think-
to increase it.
Yeah, I think the best was when the Taken King came out. We had a little hot fix every week for like almost 9 weeks or something like that.
Yeah,
Maybe one or
for a
there,
while.
not in there. And that wasn't PvP balance. So I'm not saying there was like patch
Yeah.
2.4, 2.5, but we had little fixes, we had tweaks, we had just tiny things after a bunch of new stuff had been added that felt really good, because even if we knew some stuff might change, it was sort of nice to have that reminder. And again, I don't know if that's feasible, especially not this late in the game with the sequel on its way, that they're giving us little balance patches to a 2.5-year-old game. But if that's a new plan, and they've talked about how going forward they want that live team to be live, to be real consistent right there with you. If they're setting up this good new foundation for the sequel where they can drop in little things and say, all right, that one tiny thing is weird this week, we can do that for you. I think that's going to be this ideal scenario, because it was great going from September to December with weapons right before Taken King, hot fixes, and then a subclass change in about 3 months. Perfect. I don't know if we can ask for that consistently, but it definitely felt good to have those tweaks.
I've got a little
just wanna
something
jump
here.
in.
Oh, you Fallout.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
just
Go
want-
ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, because we're doing a live podcast as we always
We
do,
are.
that we had 2 notes from people in the chat, one from Pump Train and one from Iron Fish Flower, who suggested they're trying to think of ways. They're just brainstorming in the Twitch chat right now about what to do with Scories if they were to make tweaks to it. And one suggestion was, if you're using Scories and you have a full charge and you're charging your teammates, you have you take an increased amount of damage slightly. And the other
wow.
suggestion was, if you have a charge on Scories and your teammates are benefiting from the charge, then the person with Scories gets a slowdown debuff.
Oh,
That's
like a light
interesting.
That is
overcharge.
pretty good,
Yeah.
man.
That's kind of
Yeah.
cool, right?
It's
Like
got
you're
to
kind of
be.
weighted down by something. 'cause
Yeah,
you're
like you're moving a
providing
little
charge.
slower because you're charging. I like that
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah.
That's really good. Like
be
a
interesting.
punishment for like making something that's very
Make it a
high
trade-off.
reward,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
have a risk to it. Yeah.
It's because that would be something that wouldn't affect you until you've got your super and you're charging other people.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
It reflects
Excellent.
the idea of support classes versus assault classes, which is it's really sort of hybrid in Destiny. It's never been fully true, but you get the ideas like a Sunsinger or a Defender who's slower but giving people supers and that sort of thing, and they're sort of like the thing you got to protect. It's
Hmm.
fairly true now, but it's something in the future that it really could push classes to like, here's the Slayers, here's the team support, here's the defense, the tanks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool. I like
Yeah,
those
man.
changes.
Excellent. That's really good stuff.
Yeah.
Well done. We should get you guys
Well
on the
done,
podcast.
Chaz.
You can
You
take
guys
my
should do
place.
this job.
Yeah. I got something.
Featuring the whole chat.
I got something here that Bones. I think Bones is going to be all over. This is something that popped in my head towards today. There's a lot of talk about vault space.
Oh
people
boy.
running out of space. I've also seen folks complaining about the if they want to get a loadout, particular loadout for armor and things like that, they're getting the same. So I'm getting the same stuff. Sidearms for days. Sidearm ammo, sidearm reload. You're just getting really bad perks trying to gear yourself up for different loadouts. And we've got 3 subclasses of character. And at the moment, it's something like 9 armor sets to try and load out for specific subclasses with specific weapon ammo boosters and capacities and reloads and stuff like that. And this is just creating like a huge amount of, almost like a waste of your character's inventory as well as a waste of vault space. So here's an idea that I had, and that is we go back to the year 1 simplification of chess pieces with like ammo booster for specials, ammo booster for heavies. Like just that, or like that's the variation. It's primary, secondary, and the third, the heavy ammo. Yeah. So you don't have sidearm ammo, everything's split up because it's just so crazy the amount of variation that we've got. And then maybe with the weapon reloads, that needs to be itemized. But do we really need weapon reload speed for snipers, shotguns, sidearms? I think it'd be primaries really, and the same for the. What was I going to say? There was the other things that you got. Intellect,
ammo.
discipline. That should be where you grind. You want to gear up for different things like that. At the moment, we're grinding for armor for different loadouts, and it's taking a while to get the stuff that you need. And there's just so much variation. Like this. I think there's too much variation, and this is just basically eating up your spaces. But what do you guys think about that?
I was going to say, that you're right when you say that it's an idea that brings up stuff that Bones has talked about before with stat rolling. Mm-hmm. Anytime you get something that's not 92% and above, you shard it, because why would that even exist? Why would there be 83% stat rolls on armor? Yeah, and I'd be happy with that if I could get just a unified special ammo buff on my chest piece or whatever, like we had on some armor pieces back in the day. I think it's cool.
It really
got down on the
seems.
grind.
Yeah. Story, I think one thing you and I both have been dealing with for the past month, and I always have to put this disclaimer on it, but 1% players, we play this game a lot. We're doing a fucking podcast about it. Obviously, we spend a lot of time there, different experiences, but it baffles me now as I keep playing this game into 2017. And I'm like, man, I have been working my ass off, going flawless week after week. I'm not good enough to carry any day I pick up the controller. So I've been grinding. I've been playing hard. I've been trying to get better. I've gone to the lighthouse. I don't know how many times in year 3. How do I not have like a set of trials gear to show off? Like, how do I not have 4 pieces that match, even if the perks aren't there?
Yeah.
Like, I don't even get like legs ever. I've gotten so. Again, it's a very like gimme kind of request, but it's like, all right, so at this point today, we got to the lighthouse, helped a friend, good feeling. That's why we did it. I'm not out there grinding for gear that much. That's my reason for playing. But when I got to the lighthouse, I opened the chest and I get, of course, the weapons. I have all of them, but I get a helmet again, and it's like my 12th helmet. I'm just sort of like, really?
It goes back
really
to
just the helmet.
Yeah, it goes back to the. I've had a suspicion. This is just my suspicions. This is not like confirmed. This is just my opinion. But like, I strongly believe that Destiny has a more private loot system rather than RNG. So, for example, if you main hand cannons, if you main snipers, then you're going to get a reduced drop rate on hand cannons or snipers, and the same with your armor. Because that's the carrot on the stick. That's the stuff that you use, so, to elongate your play, So this is why we're getting sidearm reload gear. This is why you're being starved of the boots that you want. It's to keep you playing, which makes the corporate sense. However, I think it's a little strong,
I don't know if I'm going to entertain the conspiracy part of that. I do agree with you that there is a analytical consumer reason for why certain RNG is the way it is. I think obviously that there are people studying this, studying consumers, studying what keeps people playing, and they said this gets the most attention out of us, and I get that.
Yep.
I am the product in that case. All right, whatever. But I think Destiny is more than just some stupid loot game where it just piles on and it doesn't matter, and I got everything in the game, collect and collect and collect. Like, we don't collect. Some people want to for fun, but like that's not the goal. The goal is not get everything. If the goal was you get a wall on the tower and you get to fill in all these squares because you got everything, then sure, that would be the goal some people would shoot for, but it's not. The goal is become your own legend.
Yes.
And it's real fucking difficult to become the legend I want to be. When I'm getting 85% boots with fusion rifles.
Yeah.
That's very true.
Stuff that you don't use, you know, like the stuff that you find. It's like, what am I going to do with that? Why am I getting showered in scout rifles all the time? That's the weapon I use the least. It's just pure coincidence. And sidearm reload stuff, you know. So it's.
I wish there was a system where it was just like, I can still grind. If Bungie wants me to grind, I'll freaking grind. All right, but like let me grind with a plan. Okay, like let me turn in like I go to somebody, I don't know who at the tower, Zavala, because why the hell not? I just here's my marks, and you give me that piece of armor, and now I give more marks to the armor smith or whatever, and I buy the perk. Like I buy the stat loadout that I want, or something like that, or I buy this perk, or I buy that perk. That way we could at least grind towards a goal, and like people could take pride in their weapons, be like, oh dude, I ground out for like a whole week and check out this IS Luna I got. It's got like rangefinder,
I crafted
hidden
this
hand or whatever. Like this is mine. I earned this gun. You know what I mean? It's kind of like a mixture between grinding and reforging in a way.
Really simple example is Archon's Forge, right? We got a dude in a specific social space giving us specific bounties for that, and it's a specific activity with a specific set of rewards. In my opinion, one of the coolest armor sets you can get for all three classes right now is the stuff from Archon's Forge. And I love all that. Grinding Archon's Forge right now is not great. It's something I can do for an hour if I'm watching Netflix. But it's repetitive at this point, and the drops are sort of like whatever. And I've gotten 2 pieces of that armor on my Titan that are kind of unusable, but they're sort of sitting there because maybe I want to see what they look like all together. So if I'm going to go talk to Shiro and I'm going to pick up 4 bounties, I'm going to turn in stuff for him. How about I do that for a week and I get the arms and I get those arms. And I do that for another week and I get the legs. Not the best legs. I do that for a week and I use my points or my stuff with him or my bounty point that I get, and I go, give me different legs. Give me the legs with sniper ammo.
Exactly.
In any amount of time, say there's 3 months after Rise of Iron, and then you check Twitter and it's 3 months in and you've got one guy going, check out my Trials of Osiris set. I've got all the pieces and it's my new set and I'm going to play with that. And then you got the PvE guy that you follow who's like, check me out. I got all the Archon's Forge stuff and but not for cool. And then you go, look at me. I've got the raid set and I got that shader because this is what I chose to devote my time to. And you could go to the tower and you could say, look at that PvP guy and look at that raid guy. And damn, that guy's really good at Prison of Elders apparently.
People love customization. That's something where Bungie could really capitalize on for Destiny 2. Like if you could just make change, like you earn weapons and you earn gear, you customize them the way that you want, but still in a way that you're playing the game in a way where it's not super easy. Like, oh, I just played for like an hour and I got like my end gear, art weapon loadout. You know what I mean? Like work towards a goal.
Exactly.
But like more, you could buy. I don't know, like a whole. I'm just thinking of Call of Duty. Like, you know how you go into Call of Duty and people they customize their banner and they customize their own emblem, and you can customize the gun however you want. And the guns have skins on the gun, and I just feel like this is this huge untapped area that Bungie could really take advantage of.
Inaccessible items. Well, hopefully, like that's my gripe with the loot. Whether it's RNG or PLS, there is an inherent issue with folks that are going for certain things. You know, like recently I started playing a lot of Sunsinger, you know, bringing that back. I'm enjoying the old solar grenades and stickies. I've never used stickies, but I've been using them a lot the last couple of weeks, and I've had fun with it. Now I'm trying to gear myself up appropriately for Sunsingers again with new loot. I cannot for the life of me get a sniper rifle chest piece with discipline strength and solar armor. I can't get sniper rifle boots You
And
know,
it gets
like,
frustrating.
yeah, it does,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
it's
it
like
does.
I want that
Frustrating.
and I can't get it. It's like the game is literally denying me of that. It's almost like it knows I need it, and it's like, oh, a new carrot on the stick. Whoosh, come on,
Just let
story.
your girlfriend play, bro.
100 of hours. You
There
know,
you go.
Put the girlfriend on the controller.
you know.
But yeah, you
Girlfriend
get into these
RNG.
weird situations where I know people who play like me, which is I put on the ugliest armor. I don't care because I just want the best possible perks that I have. I'm like, that armor is ass ugly, but it has
can't do it.
shotgun ammo on it and
Yeah.
hand cannon reloader or
do
whatever.
it.
And like, just put
I
it
gotta
on,
look
dude.
fly. I have to look fly.
Yeah. And then my girlfriend has an armor loadout, and it's like styling. You know what I mean? I like her Titan looks super baller because it's like all matching and
Yeah.
it's just super decked out. But you look at it, and it's like a hair off of perfect. And I'm like, why don't you just put on the other one to get to tier 12? It's like, well, because then I don't look awesome. And I'm like, all right, that's
Yeah,
fair.
exactly.
Like, wouldn't it be wonderful if we could just combine the two?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And
What do you
when
think,
talk
Link? You've
about
been
that-
quite quiet there, man. I know that you're into your armors and your loadouts and stuff as well, man. What do you think of this whole setup?
You talking to me?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, I agree. I'm definitely somebody who there's a lot of cool looking armor sets in the game that I want, but half of the ones that I get, like, hold on, I've got Dim up right now. This is actually something I experienced this week. I basically have the full set of armor that you get from Commander Zavala's bounties. It's a super awesome set. It's called the Dying Star set for Warlocks.
Yep.
It looks great.
Yep.
4 out of the 5 pieces of it are garbage stat rolls and are perks that I don't need. It's like Scout Rifle Loader and Pulse Rifle Loader.
Enjoy.
Mhm.
Isn't it cool to use Silver Dust, which is like the rarer economy thing in the game, and
Yeah.
you use Silver Dust, and you get a piece of crap armor from
You
that
get a
roll,
piece
Yeah.
of crap armor,
and
bro.
you get one
And
Silver Dust back.
so I would absolutely love it if we could have a more direct way to get the armor that we want, or if we had a way to pick the abilities that we wanted. Like I think this is all kind of going back to the root issue of being able to reforge or just forge the armor that you really want to get. And of course we had reforging in year 1. It was a very simple version of reforging, but it worked.
Yeah.
I would really like to, honestly, I'd like to see some variant of reforging come back.
Bring back Reforge.
See, I had a very
Hashtag
long
bring it back.
conversation with a friend of mine on Twitter about reforging. His opinion was that reforging makes the game very bland. This is the controversial argument against reforging, that it
Bland
makes
is
the
a
game
subject.
bland.
Bland is a
It's a subjective
subjective
Oh, I'm
word.
with you. I'm with you.
Subjective term.
I would rather have it back to be able to
Also,
have.
there's not only one way to
some-
reforge.
Yeah.
There's not one way to do it.
Yeah, there's like, how about this? A friend of mine, Gary, suggested this. How about, you know how we have quest lines for exotics? Well,
Yeah.
we can have quest lines for legendary pieces of gear that involve like a crafting kind of basis. So
That'd be
you have to go
cool.
and collect, I don't know, like 100 spirit blooms, and then you got to fight certain enemies in order to get to the gunsmith, or you go to Shaxx to, maybe Shaxx does the armor, and then the gunsmith does the weapons. The gunsmith is an untapped resource for stuff. At the moment, it's
Really
a very
is.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
small.
You think he
really
would smith
is.
some guns?
Yeah.
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 He's just a slot machine.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Like-
a lot of the guns don't really have much use. Like, there is some useful stuff. You occasionally get some god roll stuff, and like every Wednesday, Arms Day, that was a great touch. It's just a very wasted opportunity. But
And
imagine,
like 3 god roll weapons and everything else is garbage.
yeah, but it's
The only thing
still-
the weapon guy is good for right now is for YouTube content creators who like, oh look, I went into PvP with the gunsmith like shotgun. Lol. And don't get me wrong, those videos are hilarious, but like the gunsmith needs to be able to give us more than just a
Yeah.
randomly shitty auto rifle every Wednesday.
yeah, man.
Like,
Before
go ahead.
I was gonna say, before we get like finished with this topic, Fallout made one point. We're talking about choosing to use something that's cool versus choosing to use something that's good. And I mentioned saying having a full trial set. One thing I have to say though, Destiny has always done this miraculously beautiful job of making almost every piece look really great together. A lot of that is shaders, and I think shaders are just the best invention.
Yeah.
The standard for a lot of customization in shooters is picking out your colors and getting red, and if you want to use red, you use red, and yellow is your accent color, very Halo-esque, and I don't mind that in plenty of games. but it's really great when a shader just perfects the color combinations.
Yeah.
You don't look ugly and everything looks cool. And so it's like so great to see how shaders change. So getting the perfect gear is not problematic, and I don't think it ruins that vibe because stuff can really look good together. So if you're really trying to get that perfect setup, I think it'd be awesome if you were like, I can get those raid arms that I want, and I can get that Archon's Forge chest piece because they look awesome. They're my 2 favorite pieces, and I can also get that cloak and stuff like that. It doesn't make anything bland. It doesn't limit. It doesn't mean you have to do one activity forever to get your set of armor. If you want to, you can. I think it just even further creates unique looking Guardians who want to look the way they want to look. And if you like that trial set, you get that damn trial set.
Yeah.
I'm officially axing the conversation topic because that was very well put by Bones.
Yeah.
Done. Drop the mic.
And all of you. I think that this stuff's bothering me, and I hate being bothered by anything in Destiny, but I'm just like,
bothering.
oh, why have I put this much time in? I don't have exactly what I want because I'm a little needy baby and I want to get the stuff that I want.
Hey, but I get it. It's like you
improve.
spend a lot of hours. When you spend several hundred hours and you still haven't got the thing that you really want, it's that's too much, man. There's something wrong there that does need a bit of a tweak. But I also understand the other side of the argument. You can't get everything straight away, but that's not the point.
Yeah.
Changing these things won't mean that you get everything straight away. You still have to put the time in to get it.
Also, I'll feel terrible if like someone hears this at Bungie and they're like, I've been working on this for like fucking 5 months. I'm gonna put it in the sequel. No
Probably.
shit, dude. I'm gonna
Let's hope. Let's hope.
We know.
Yeah.
It's like I do this for a living. I fucking get it, man. Like
It's coming in Destiny 2. What you've just described here is already coming.
Oh, don't quote me on that.
Yeah, let's hope.
There's actually something kind of off of this that I was looking on YouTube and stuff, talking a little bit about Destiny 2. Anything anyone says to you is rumor at this point, so keep that in mind. But we can theorize and
speculation.
Fallout I came up with a cool one in Trials this week about how there should be like a fake blink. Like if a walker had like a decoy blink and you like pump fake it,
that
like
would
you're
be
gonna blink and they look, but you can't.
I got
blink.
distracted in the middle of our Trials card because Bones brought it up. I was like, dude, that is such a good idea.
Yeah,
that's
not what I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, because you could like fake blink to psych people out, and it would become this whole new jump option. And I was trying to think of like what else you could add in to like mind game the thing, and I was just going on, and Bones like, there's 2 outside A, there's 2 outside A, there's 2 outside A, and I'm like, I'm not even concentrating because I'm like, oh shit, right, we're like trying to take somebody to the lighthouse. My bad.
Yeah. Okay, but
that's such a cool idea though.
Speculation. I was watching a YouTube video by Eric's. With some K's and some Z's in there. Great dude, make really good content. And he did a little everything we know about Destiny 2, which is, very little, lots of rumors. But he talked about some other game. I can't think of what game it was because I don't know the MMO RPG world as well. But he mentioned that when they came out with a sequel, they referenced the old character. They didn't let you continue. You didn't bring all your stuff with you. You weren't the same person. You started over. But there was like a shrine to your former self. So like in Destiny terms, it'd be like, what if there was a shrine to the legend that became the Guardian that defeated 3 raid bosses and stuff like that. And I'm wondering if you guys think, does ditching all your stuff sound more appealing if there's some sort of cool lore that's created and added, and your Guardian or our Guardian became a character in the game?
I mean, look, I'm just going to make my next character look exactly like my character right now. So he's still going to be the same person.
Confident in their design.
People are really hyped about the fact, because Bungie's mentioned that it's going to be like this, there's probably going to be a progression in some manner. You know what I mean? They're going to tie the games together.
Right.
But like, I don't really care about my character that much. That sounds terrible, but I'm sure Destiny 2 is going to have all new guns and all new... lots of things. I wouldn't care at all to restart my character. I mean, I would maybe be sad for like 5 minutes because my warlock is super sexy, awoken chick, and she's friggin' awesome, and I love her. But I'm just gonna, like Link said, I'm just gonna make her over again if I can't bring her over.
Same character.
Who cares? Like,
the only thing that I'd really want, like 100%, is like the shaders and the emblems that we've collected. You know, like, so that would be the nostalgia. That would be the shrine for me. Like, I used to wear this emblem in year one. This is my Vault of Glass emblem. I want to wear it again. So if there is a shader and emblem system, I mean, that kind of stuff is just, well, no, you know what I mean, shader. Chatter White, you know.
Shadow White, baby.
Shadow
Oh, yeah.
White.
Yeah, but like
I'd
just
imagine
that
that's pretty
stuff,
much-
like to bring through. I think if they don't have that, then that's going to be a little disappointing for me.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I'd imagine that's probably all that's really gonna happen. It's probably gonna be story-wise the same character going forward,
Yeah.
but the only thing if you transfer a character, you're probably just gonna get like a shader and an emblem that says you were here for Destiny 1.
That'd be
None
cool.
of the guns are gonna transfer. It's just gonna be a fresh start, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
same here. Like
Yeah, I'd be okay with
literally,
a fresh
because
start.
they also have the element of bringing nostalgia back. Like in Destiny
Yeah.
2, you know, it could be halfway through that lifespan, and it's like, oh, you can last words coming back, and it's like everyone's, well, wow, you know, icebreaker, blah blah
Which
blah.
is probably gonna happen.
Yeah, or something
Completely
similar.
honest.
hope so.
But like just having an account where you still have access to the things that you've collected in that kind of sense, shaders and emblems, you know, those are the things that are really like the reminiscent that should transfer. But in terms of like having all of your gear, all of your vault, all of that kind of stuff, I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen, to be honest.
I think the two things that make me hesitant on either one, talking about like having some sort of memory of our character and sort of picking up a new one, is that the actual character development of us has been really weird and vague. And on one side it is me. It's like me and my friends and blah blah blah. The Destiny's about being me rather than like I'm Geralt in The Witcher, you know. But like our characters haven't talked in so long, and that bothers me, weirds me out even, that we had like a few lines of dialogue in the original. It was like, at least I know who I sounded like. And then expansions came out, and it was just like, yeah, we're not gonna do like 9 voices
yeah.
for that. So the Guardian just sort of like, it's like, yeah, okay, I'll go do that thing. Okay, Saladin, I'm gonna stand behind you. And I just want a little more like interaction there. So if we're carrying over, I'm like, I don't even know what I am or what my character is.
I don't
really.
even know who I am anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know my identity.
But it's like if like the new storyline starts and we're talking, I'm gonna be like, oh my god, I forgot what my character sounded like.
Yeah.
At the same time, if he becomes sort of like character in the game, and I'm like, ah, yes, that's the legend, I'll be like, that generic thing that has real no character traits that just beats some raids and stuff like that. So I don't know. I'm not
That's us.
really married to anything in Destiny, anyways. It'll be cool if they made like old legendary weapons exotic.
Ooh,
That's all I look forward to. I don't need anything in this game. I'll snap my disc if they said that's what you need to do to install the new one.
Good call, buddy. That's
Well, all
I
right,
hope
you
in
guys
a
ready
really
to move on
extreme
to
way,
some
but yeah,
questions?
good call. Questions.
Yes.
People have been waiting.
They have been waiting. We have
Hit us.
little time. Let's try and do this quick.
A fountain of questions, please.
Question from
Right,
Subcult.
Quick.
What is your opinion on if in Destiny 2 they separate PvP from PvE weapons completely?
We talked a bit about that.
Kind of touched on that already. I mean, if they separated them completely, like here's a gun, you can only use it in PvP. Here's a gun, you can only use it in PvE.
I think that's problematic.
I do
yeah.
think that
Well,
would be
That
problematic.
gets a thumbs
I'd
down
imagine-
from me.
Weird.
Yeah.
I would imagine they would handle it in the way most MMOs handle it. In MMOs, you have different weapons and armors for PvP and PvE. You can bring PvE weapons and armor into PvP, and you can bring PvP weapons and armor into PvE, but they have certain abilities that will only activate whether you're in PvP or PvE. So if you had like an in-game raid weapon in PvE, you'd bring it into PvP, it wouldn't have its in-game abilities. It would just be a weapon with certain stats.
Yeah.
So
I don't know
little
if that
more
would
like,
work for
I mean, we kind of have that, but you're saying like that would have its one thing. So like
Yeah.
a raid weapon only has a raid perk rather than having
And I don't
like
know if that
battle
would
runner
work
and stuff.
for Destiny.
Yeah.
Right.
Because Destiny has a bunch of generic perks.
Yeah.
It might work more so for like armor abilities, but for weapons, I don't know. Maybe he's talking about if they balance like weapon damage differently. Because right now, weapon damage is pretty much when they nerf and buff weapons, they nerf and buff the damage of those weapons in both PvE and PvP.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they do that separately.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how it would work with Destiny. It's kind of a hard subject to balance out.
Yeah. Very tricky. Good question though, but very tricky. New question from Swagmaster. Should the Viking funeral perk on Sunsinger be put back to what it was? Right now, it is kind of garbage. They could rework the burn somehow. Gentlemen, thoughts?
Yeah, I've been playing a lot of Sunsinger recently, and originally I thought that they got nerfed too hard, and I'm gonna stick with that. They did.
Yeah.
And
it kind of makes me giggle. There were like a lot of very vocal people in the community saying like, dude, Sunsinger's really strong. They need a nerf. They need a nerf. And then after asking for so long and countless memes and potentially angry tweets.
We love our memes, don't we?
Yeah, we sure do. They nerfed the Firebolt, and then maybe like 2 weeks later, some of the same community members on Twitter were like, yeah, you know what? That might have been too much. We're like, God damn it. Yeah.
I've had a few moments where the burn and damage taking thing element now that they added was really cool. So the concept is now they are on fire. They don't burn out crazy fast like they used to. It doesn't do as much overall damage, but when they are on fire, they take more damage.
Yeah.
So I had this awesome Firebolt where crowded up on the special weapon. I tagged them all, and then I just was able to pick them off really fast. But it was really fast. Like it was a really, really quick play. So I liked that, but the more I played with it, the more I found it was so hard to actually get that follow-up shot because they'd get tagged and they'd duck behind a corner, and I'd and I'd go look around the corner, and by that time they're done. So I thought it'd be cool if they were burning longer and they were taken out of the play like they used to be, but not left at such like a crippling state. Because the problem was, it's like, okay, I'm burned. I got tagged by a Firebolt. Hopefully I don't die. And if I don't, I'm going to be really, really weak. So I can't help and I can't push because I'm not going to be back for a while. It'd be cool if it burned for a longer time, much less damage, but that damage taking thing was still there the whole time. So it's like they're not in a crippling state, but if they want to push with their team and if they want to try to help, they're going to be a really weak target. And that way, if they do survive the burn, they're okay. They can get back in the action quicker, but it's sort of like a real risky thing if they want to do it. I'm just thinking of all the grenades now that do have a good ability of keeping someone away for a while, i.e. Axions and skip grenades. Skips are like, run for your life and just do a lap by sea. Come on back when you're done. But you can survive pretty well. You can be at almost full strength. You'll be back. You can, as soon as they're done, you're back with your team and you can help shooting. Firebolts, it was like, hold on.
Gotta go.
All right. What irritates me about Firebolts now is that you try to. I was playing a Sunsinger last week for my year 1 shenanigans, and the range, I just never hit anybody. You know what I mean? You throw it in, and the range is like these little T-Rex nades. Yeah. And just thinking of the Sunsinger's intended role as like a supporty kind of class, right? Maybe what if they tweaked it in a way that Firebolt grenades do no damage, but they bring back the range and the ability to connect to enemies very easy. That was one of the things that really appealed to me about the Firebolt, is that how reliable they were. Like you throw it in and you're like, you're probably going to get a tag. But what if they don't do any damage, no damage, and they do something else? Like they take away the enemy's radar for 10 seconds, or the enemy isn't able to charge their super for like 20 seconds. Like it's kind of like a shut off the supercharge nade. Or if they become visible on radar for your teammates for like 10 seconds or something like that. I'm just trying to think of ways to make it viable in like a supporty kind of way, rather than the painfully annoying, like,
those sound like really good Night
burning
Stalker
for like 8
perks.
seconds.
You know, all of those ones, like the radar and the not being able to charge your super, I would relate that to Night Stalker rather than a Sunsinger, personally. You know.
Yeah. Just thinking of cool things to do. But you're right. That's a good question. I think they might have groin kicked the Sunsinger a wee bit.
Yeah,
a little hard.
Too hard.
Yeah.
Question from Diamond Wolf. What's on the screen behind you? That would be my girlfriend playing Destiny. She is in the menu screen doing nothing. How boring. I was hoping for a better answer for you. Sorry. What are you playing?
We all do it.
Trying to level up a character. Trying to level up a friend's character. How very nice.
Inventory management. It's
inventory management.
Yes.
Oh, my favorite activity, honestly.
The meta.
I love inventory management.
Okay, good question there. Thank you very much. Question from Walter. Story, you mentioned this to me earlier today. Have any of you watched Travelers on Netflix, episode 8, 21st minute? Wow, that is
Yes.
very
Oh,
specific that
it
you know the
is.
exact minute.
because
They
there's a
directly
reference.
referenced several Destiny guns. I did not
They
know
did.
that.
The
Very cool. What did
exotics.
they reference?
The Last Word, Fourth Horseman, Patience and Time.
What was the context?
Basically, not too much spoilers. The Travelers is a series where the future is bleak. There's been disasters that have happened, and they want to send people back in time, and they do it through transmitting consciousness through quantum mechanics into people's bodies that were going to die in the past. So they're sending these conscious minds back to the 21st century, and they're super skilled, super intelligent people, and they need money to fund their missions to try and stop all these disasters from happening. So naturally, they know what to bet on, you know. And the guy's coming down an escalator, and he says, "Put your money on these horses." The Last Word, Fourth Horseman, and it's just a big
that's
string
cool.
of Destiny exotics.
It was
I was
big.
I was just about to nod off to sleep, and I'm like, "Whoa, no way! That's
It's
cool."
like when Nathan Fillion made a Destiny
Yeah.
reference in Castle. It was great.
Yeah.
I love
call.
that.
Good.
Yeah, man.
That's really cool that they did that.
Speaking
Question-
of references, it's sort of
Oh, sorry.
different, but you know what I'm excited for, and I think is really awesome. The designers of Mass Effect credited Destiny for inspiring some of their designs,
Very
and
cool.
you can look at it and like just the ads and stuff like that. It does look very Destiny-esque in a very
That's
cool
cool. I
way.
like it.
I just really appreciate the idea of Destiny inspiring games and sort of having an impact in the way that Bungie video games have always done. That made me happy to know that someone's out there going like, I want my game to look like this one, because Destiny is a beautiful looking game. Anyway, continue.
Yeah.
Sure. Question from a Twitter account named Deege's Jacket. And the profile picture is of Deej wearing that ridiculous, what is that? Like, it's like a shiny, what is that made out of?
That
Is it
beautiful
Queen's
green dinner
Web?
jacket.
Yeah, what is that? Deege's Jacket.
Silver
Yeah.
paisley
Question-
green. Oh,
question.
it's gorgeous.
Deej's Web.
Do you think Deej is ever going to wear me again? I am
Probably not
so
someday.
happy that someone decided to go out of their way and make a Twitter identity completely 100% based on someone's jacket that they wore like one
Geezy
time.
JK.
Amazing. No, Deej will never wear you again. Rip your soul.
Well, just crush his dreams there.
I was about to read a question, but I realized that I can't read it because I don't know what he wrote.
Rip.
Mr. R's asks, when do you think we will get our first look into Destiny 2 before or at E3? Place our bets now.
At E3.
At E3.
Mhm.
E3.
It's
Gotta be at E3.
the most obvious guess.
It's a good timing. This is another thing that Eric's was talking about in that video. Go watch that video if you just want to sit there and sort of get excited, even though it's
Yeah.
far off. Is that games really need that 4 to 6 months, so to speak, to advertise and start talking about it. So he laid out the schedule of what seems really natural based off of everything Destiny related coming out in September. So I think we can look forward to a trailer at E3,
Yes.
some stuff around there, maybe some gameplay at Gamescom or something like that, and then looking forward to our release in September. And if they follow that schedule, I think it'd be perfect. And they've said that they feel like they're on schedule. So I think that's where that's my guess. I think that's all of our guesses. So
Probably.
just got to be
E3.
patient till June.
A
Yep.
bunch of ride-alongs, Gamescom, release.
Yep.
And I'm
We've
cool.
had this question before, but I do like bringing it up every now and then. Question from Sergeant Pepper: favorite non-meta weapon to play around with in PvP? See, look, Link is in deep thought.
I've got a huge list, so you guys go
I know.
first.
I've
What if
got
I
a
told
new
Link
one. I've got a new
You can only
one.
have one answer.
Thanks to a friend of mine at the moment. I've had one that I've had lots of fun with, and that's the Kvostov, the new exotic.
Ooh.
Yeah, I've had
Really?
that, yeah.
Yeah, dude.
With the right loadout on that, it's not terrible at all, you know, and it's got some nice ornaments on it, so you know.
What is the name of the Iron Banner scout rifle?
Distant
Collivance's duty.
Distant Star.
Oh yeah,
That's
The
my
new-
answer to
newer
that
one,
question.
yeah.
The Distant
That's good.
Star. With
good,
explosive
though.
rounds, mandatory. Totally mandatory.
Yes.
to piss
I was
off
messing
people.
with Boolean Gemini last weekend on
Oh.
Exodus Blue.
Surprisingly
out.
good.
Yeah, and it's got high caliber. You got unflinching for
Cool.
those 1v1s. I was messing around because it's got barrel mods like exotics do. And if you've never heard me talk about this or on Crucible Radio, barrel mods can really change a gun. It can push an auto rifle to hit really hard. Monte Carlo can do more points to the head. So if you can handle stability on stuff, some exotics can hit pretty hard. And it doesn't change the time to kill on Boolean, but if you want to go ag balls in low range, it can hit for like 64, like pretty heavy body shots. So it helps you with assists. And it's a really fun gun because I think it could be more like noticeable. That's why it's not the most used gun, but it has an options for added armor or extra agility based on kills. And it's like if you are a warrior that wants to hit fire your scout and get a little armor in the nick of time, it can be fun. Or if you're just a position based sniper with your primary and stuff like that, it's cool. I hope that one kind of, I don't know if it will. They're not going to make every exotic perfect, but I hope it's not forgotten.
It's surprisingly, it's one of those weapons nobody uses, but it's surprisingly good. If you're wondering what happened to Mida's high cal, Bungie took it and put it on Boolean.
Yeah.
It's a really fun gun. Very fun.
Straight rifles are so weird to me because I use them, and I feel like I'm the only one using that mid rate of fire, and everyone's like, "Oh, the Cocytus is good. You could, if you're good with that, you're good." It's like, yeah, it's got a fast time to kill on paper if you're hitting crits, but if you miss and the body shots are really slow, and then everyone's going,
Through the roof.
"Use that Suros with full auto," and I'm like, "That's not." I guess that's the thing. But the mid archetype can be nice. Can be really nice. I use it on quite a few trials maps. Widow's Court with a shotgun. This weekend on Shrine down that lane. Nothing's like ruining a sniper's chance at shooting you across by hitting them with a scout rifle that no one's heard of in months. And then they died of that. Like, yeah.
So
that was
rude.
It's good.
Yeah.
All right, Link.
So
Final
I have a huge number of things for this, but I think I've narrowed it down to one weapon that I've been using for the past couple of weeks that is really not the best, but I've found some really fun success with it. The new Iron Banner fusion rifle, the Branded Lord. This thing has become one of my favorite counter shotgun weapons because just how silly it can be. It's in the fastest rate of fire tier for fusions, so you have to land a ludicrous number of bolts to kill. I think you have to land minimum 6 bolts to kill, which is like 1 underneath what it fires.
Yeah.
But the charge rate is so quick. If you can get a decent stability roll of it, you can actually run accelerated coils to speed it up even further, which raises the number of bolts you need to kill to 7. But I found it easy enough to land those bolts. I get some really crazy kills with it. And
you heard it
that's
here,
what I put
folks.
this.
That is the only
That's the new meta.
non-meta PvP weapon that Link likes. There's no
Right.
other.
the rest are trash.
The rest
They're
are
all garbage.
garbage.
But yeah, it's a really fun, quick charging weapon that I've really come to love. It doesn't always work, but when it does, it's like mini Plan C. I like it.
I got one of those. I might have to try it. I don't know what I got.
If you can keep that bolt spread tight, if you can keep it on target, it's surprisingly good.
Okay. Alrighty.
Well, we found some stuff to talk about this week, guys.
we always
sure
do.
Yeah.
We always do.
You
I
know.
really
There's
like
always
answering the
stuff.
questions, though. I feel like sometime soon we should do like the all questions only episode that we've been talking about every now and then.
Well, I would say do that next week, but if we do get this week at Bungie, then we're going to be talking about that, depending on
call,
what's in it. If it's just the, oh, we had a great holidays, thank you very much. We ate turkey and saw our families.
know
and
it's going
slept.
And we're like, yeah,
You know it's gonna
Questions
be, and
only.
everybody's like,
Weapon
update.
Weapon
Can
update.
we get-
Class
can we
update.
It's not news, guys. It's not news. I'm
was
saying
that
this
the-
for myself.
The greedy
Yeah.
I'm saying this for
emote.
myself.
Let's get it out of there. It's just going to be welcome back. We hope you guys had a great winter vacation. We'll see you next week. That's all it's going to be.
We'll have some news next week. Yeah,
That
but
we're not quite ready yet to reveal.
We're not
so
ready
then,
to deal.
interim, we could actually do that full Q&A next podcast, couldn't we?
Let's do it.
there we
Yeah.
go. Yep.
We'll have to get
Sounds
some
good.
questions beforehand, and
Yes,
you know,
we
not answer some of the ones we've done a couple times. Even though it's so
Yeah.
fun to talk about
get it.
Yeah.
what other guns we like to troll people with.
Yeah, man.
So, gentlemen, shall we tie things up and raid somebody?
Yes, please.
I think
so.
we shall.
Yes.
Hey, one announcement while you find someone to raid. If you
Okay.
haven't followed us on Twitter and you don't know what's up, and maybe you didn't listen to the Destiny Community Podcast, they're gonna lose at the end of this month because we are doing a little bit of a showdown
They signed
on
up for it.
January 28th.
Yep.
Is that correct?
Yep.
What's going
Yes.
down is the Planet Destiny crew, all of us and our buddy Mega versus the Destiny Community Podcast, 5v5. Maybe special guests as our 6 just to fill out the teams. Who knows?
Yep.
Private matches, we can do whatever we want.
Yep.
But we are going to be playing them in a grueling series of battles in the Crucible on the racetracks. And maybe we'll just like who can delete the most out of their vault before stopping.
Oh
That
god,
should
I
be
quit.
a competition. I'll delete everything.
I'll be sick that
I'm
day.
out. No.
Oh, that's a rude
I'm gonna bring that up.
idea.
I'm
I
gonna
foresee a virus.
God.
Oh no.
It's
No.
they have to nominate one, and I'll do it. And the competition
Dude, that
is the person who can get to the lowest number of items on their characters in vault wins that round.
Oh, that's so brutal.
And
No.
if they
I'm signing in on my alt then at 313 light or whatever it is.
I'll be level 16. You know, I can handle things.
I'll keep an IS Luna in my party crasher, and then Galahorn just to fill the heavy slot, and I'll delete everything I own.
Oh no.
No.
Well, I
Not
found
doing that.
somebody.
Wait, no one's gonna take me up on that challenge. No one will.
Absolutely. You.
But
you were the
anyways,
champion.
look forward to that. It's
Yeah.
going to be a big event. We've got other people involved. We've got a little Guardian Con action, maybe a little
Yeah.
doing a little good thing for the community and for charity.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a fun time bringing people together in the spirit of competition, which is my favorite spirit, next to whiskey.
Yeah.
And so finally, when you guys ask us, where's the old PD crew? We can say there.
They're there.
right there.
Teft
Where
is here.
Teft?
The Teft is
Where
with
is
us.
he?
Is Teft?
Hashtag where is Teft?
Yeah.
I found somebody that we can raid if we're. I just